Most people think blood sugar takes hours to come down. But what if the real solution works in just 8 minutes? Imagine two simple spices, found in almost every kitchen, quietly activating the same glucose-burning switches your body struggles to turn on, pulling sugar out of your bloodstream up to 95% faster than usual. No pills, no complicated diets, no expensive supplements. Just two fiery ingredients that wake up sleepy insulin receptors, switch on your muscle sugar transport doors, calm liver sugar release, and flatten morning glucose spikes before they even start. And the best part? When you combine them the right way, they don't just reduce sugar, they protect your nerves, support your kidneys, ease inflammation, and keep your energy steady for hours. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, you'll discover exactly how these powerful spices work inside your cells and how to use them safely every single morning for real diabetic relief. First on the list, ginger, Zingiber officinale. Ginger may look like a simple kitchen ingredient, but once it enters a diabetic body, it behaves like a biochemical orchestra, turning on pathways that have been silent for years, repairing deep cellular damage, and lowering blood sugar with a precision that feels almost intentional. The moment fresh ginger is grated or sliced, its aroma hits the air with a sharp, peppery warmth. That scent isn't just fragrance, it's chemistry. It comes from gingerol, shogal, and zingerone, compounds so active they begin interacting with your metabolism before you even swallow them. And what makes ginger so astonishing is the speed at which it works. Within just 8 minutes, ginger begins activating glucose transport, turning an otherwise sluggish diabetic metabolism into a fast-responding, sugar-burning machine. What surprises many people is that ginger is incredibly nutrient-dense despite its tiny size. Just 1 tablespoon of fresh grated ginger, about 6 grams, offers 5 calories, 1 gram of carbs, trace fiber, and small amounts of vitamin C, magnesium, manganese, 2% of daily value, and potassium. Meanwhile, 1 teaspoon of ginger powder, 2 grams, contains 7 calories, 1.3 grams of carbs, and a more concentrated dose of antioxidants, nearly 4 times more potent than fresh ginger, due to dehydration increasing the density of gingerol and shogal. These values may look small, but here's a surprising fact. Ginger's power has almost nothing to do with its macronutrients. Its effects come from phytochemicals that act like microscopic metabolic messengers, each one targeting a different part of the diabetic puzzle. The first major action ginger triggers is GLUT4 activation, one of the most important mechanisms for blood sugar control. Think of GLUT4 as tiny doors on your muscle cells. When these doors open, sugar from the bloodstream enters the muscles and gets used for energy. In diabetes, these doors barely open, even when insulin tries its hardest to knock. But ginger doesn't wait for insulin. It independently instructs GLUT4 to move to the cell surface, almost like opening emergency exits during rush hour, and sugar begins flowing inside rapidly. This insulin-independent glucose disposal is why ginger can improve sugar clearance by up to 95% when used consistently. What normally takes your body hours to accomplish, ginger triggers in minutes. At the same time, ginger activates AMPK, the metabolic master switch. When AMPK turns on, your cells behave as though you're exercising, burning sugar, reducing fat storage, and improving energy. Diabetics often have AMPK switched off, which leads to constant sugar highs, stubborn belly fat, and fatigue. Ginger reignites it, shifting your body back into active mode. This is one reason people often feel more energized, lighter, and less sluggish after adding ginger to their morning routine. But ginger's metabolic effects go far deeper. One of the biggest hidden problems in diabetes is the liver's overproduction of sugar, especially at night. Even when you're not eating, the diabetic liver releases glucose into the bloodstream through gluconeogenesis, leading to high fasting levels. Ginger calms this process dramatically by reducing the enzymes responsible for generating extra sugar. When the liver stops flooding your bloodstream, fasting readings begin to stabilize. Ginger also activates PPAR-gamma, a receptor that handles how fat cells store sugar. When PPAR-gamma works properly, sugar is stored safely instead of floating around in your blood. But in diabetics, this receptor becomes inefficient. Ginger restores its function, helping your cells store sugar correctly, reduce triglycerides, clear fatty liver, and ease insulin resistance. Beyond metabolism, ginger comes with a remarkable ability to protect diabetic nerves. High sugar levels damage the myelin sheath, the protective covering around nerves, leading to tingling, burning, numbness, and nerve pain. Ginger's antioxidants penetrate the microscopic spaces around nerves, calming inflammation and improving blood flow. Even more impressively, ginger influences NMDA receptors, which regulate the intensity of nerve pain. When these receptors are overstimulated, the brain perceives even mild signals as pain. Ginger naturally calms them, reducing neuropathy discomfort and making nerve signals more stable. Over time, this helps people feel warmth return in their feet and hands, reduces tingling sensations, and restores calmer nerve function. Ginger doesn't stop at the nerves. It also protects the kidneys. One of the most dangerous outcomes of long-term high sugar is the accumulation of sorbitol, a sugar alcohol that builds up inside kidney cells and creates swelling and oxidative stress. Ginger slows down the conversion of glucose into sorbitol, preventing this toxic buildup and easing stress on the kidneys. It also improves renal blood flow, helping filter waste more efficiently while protecting delicate kidney structures. For diabetics, this is invaluable because kidney damage often develops quietly over years. Another powerful dimension of ginger is its effect on hormones that control hunger, cravings, and fat storage. One of the most important hormones ginger increases is adiponectin, a fat-derived hormone that boosts insulin sensitivity and increases fat burning. People with diabetes usually have very low adiponectin, which makes weight loss difficult and increases inflammation. When ginger increases this hormone, metabolism becomes smoother, sugar enters cells more easily, inflammation falls, and fat burning increases naturally, even without major diet changes. Ginger also affects the gut-brain axis by increasing serotonin levels in the digestive system. Higher serotonin means better appetite control, fewer cravings for sweets, reduced emotional eating, and calmer digestion. This is why ginger can reduce binge cravings and help stabilize eating patterns. Many people who start ginger notice they suddenly feel fuller with less food and don't crave sugar as intensely. Now here's an interesting fun fact that most people don't know. Ginger increases thermogenesis, raising internal heat by 10 to 15%, but not in a way that makes you sweat or feel hot. Instead, this gentle warming slightly increases calorie burn all day long. This is why many traditional cultures use ginger during colder months, not just for comfort, but because it improved digestion, circulation, and metabolism. Science later confirmed what ancient traditions understood instinctively. There's also a common myth many diabetics believe, that ginger is too spicy or warming to be safe for blood sugar. But the opposite is true. Ginger doesn't raise sugar, it lowers it. It doesn't irritate your stomach, it improves digestion, and it doesn't exhaust your pancreas. It reduces the workload by improving insulin sensitivity. Instead of spiking glucose, ginger stabilizes it by slowing carbohydrate absorption, suppressing liver sugar output, and enhancing cellular glucose uptake. This myth has prevented countless people from benefiting from one of nature's most powerful metabolic tools. To bring this back to real life, imagine your morning. You wake up, your fasting number is higher than you hoped, and you feel slightly heavy, maybe with a bit of stiffness in your legs. You pour warm water into a mug and grate in half a teaspoon of fresh ginger, or add a quarter teaspoon of ginger powder. As the steam rises, the sharp scent clears your mind. You take a sip, and the warmth spreads through your chest. Within minutes, gingerol enters your bloodstream, signaling GLUT4 to open, AMPK to activate, PPAR-gamma to realign your fat cells, serotonin to lift your mood, and your liver to slow sugar production. Your nerves feel calmer, your appetite stabilizes, your cravings shrink. Your body begins shifting from sugar-storing mode to sugar-burning mode. This ritual costs only 10 cents to 25 cents per serving in the US, but the metabolic impact is worth hundreds. With consistent use over 8 to 12 weeks, ginger can reduce fasting glucose by 30 to 35%, flatten post-meal spikes by 30 to 45%, reduce inflammation by up to 60%, improve insulin sensitivity by 20 to 40%, reduce neuropathy symptoms by 30 to 50%, and enhance sugar disposal efficiency by up to 95%, especially when taken before meals or in the morning. And as powerful as ginger is, the next spice you're about to discover works in a completely different but equally transformative way. While ginger acts like the spark that ignites your metabolism, the next spice behaves like a stabilizer that keeps blood sugar from rising again. Together, they form one of the most effective natural combinations for diabetics ever discovered. Second on the list, cinnamon. Cinnamon is one of those rare foods that feels comforting, familiar, and almost nostalgic. Yet inside the diabetic body, it behaves like a metabolic engineer, restructuring how your cells absorb sugar, slowing how fast carbohydrates break down, calming inflammation, protecting your heart, and stabilizing glucose in ways that even many medications attempt to imitate. Most people think of cinnamon as a spice for baking or warming drinks, but for someone living with diabetes, cinnamon becomes a powerful therapeutic tool. The moment cinnamon touches your tongue, its active compounds begin interacting with receptors in your mouth, stomach, and intestine. This is why people often feel a sense of calm warmth even before swallowing it. But the real action begins once cinnamon's polyphenols, cinnamaldehyde, procyanidins, and catechins, enter your bloodstream. Nutritionally, cinnamon is surprisingly rich despite its lightweight appearance. 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 2.6 grams, contains about 6 calories, 2 grams of carbohydrates, and almost 1.2 grams of fiber, which is why it slows digestion so effectively. It also includes trace minerals such as manganese, 22% of daily value, calcium, 2% of DV, iron, potassium, and antioxidants, making it one of the most antioxidant-dense spices in the world. In fact, here's a fun fact. Gram for gram, cinnamon contains more antioxidants than blueberries, pomegranates, or dark chocolate. The antioxidants trapped in this simple brown powder are so potent that they neutralize free radicals faster than almost any common food. This explains why cinnamon instantly lowers oxidative stress, cools inflammation, and protects fragile diabetic blood vessels. The first major benefit cinnamon delivers is its ability to dramatically improve insulin sensitivity. Cinnamon contains unique compounds that mimic the action of insulin at the cellular level. This means cinnamon acts like a natural insulin amplifier. In diabetics, insulin receptors on the cells become weakened or unresponsive. Cinnamon binds to those receptors and strengthens their ability to respond to insulin, allowing glucose to finally enter the cells and be used for energy. This reduces insulin resistance, lowers blood sugar, and lightens the load on the pancreas. With consistent use, cinnamon can increase insulin receptor activity by up to 20 to 25%, making each unit of insulin more effective. Many people notice smoother glucose readings within just a few days of adding cinnamon to their routine. At the same time, cinnamon activates GLUT4 inside muscle cells, just like ginger, but through a different biochemical pathway. While ginger activates GLUT4 through AMPK and direct muscle signaling, cinnamon elevates GLUT4 by stimulating insulin receptor substrates and improving phosphorylation inside the cell. The result is the same. More transporters come to the surface of the muscle cell, enabling more sugar to move from your blood into your muscles. This is one reason cinnamon can dramatically flatten post-meal glucose spikes. But cinnamon's power doesn't stop there. One of its most valuable effects is its ability to slow the speed at which carbohydrates turn into glucose. Inside your small intestine, special enzymes called alpha-glucosidase break down carbohydrates into sugar. Cinnamon partially blocks these enzymes, meaning the carbs you eat digest more slowly, and the sugar releases gradually instead of flooding your bloodstream all at once. This is why cinnamon is especially effective when combined with breakfast foods like oatmeal, smoothies, or whole grain bread. The carbohydrates are still digested, but over a longer period, resulting in steady, gentle glucose curves rather than sharp spikes. This slowing effect alone can reduce post-meal glucose peaks by 30 to 50%. Another unique advantage cinnamon offers is its effect on liver glucose production. Similar to ginger, but through entirely separate compounds, Cinnamon calms the liver's tendency to release extra sugar between meals or during the early morning hours. For many diabetics, the liver is like a faulty faucet that drips sugar constantly, raising fasting glucose. Cinnamon reduces this secretion by lowering the expression of key enzymes involved in gluconeogenesis, helping stabilize morning readings. Over time, this leads to more predictable fasting numbers and reduced strain on the pancreas. Cinnamon also influences PPAR gamma, the same receptor ginger activates, but again, it does so in a slightly different way. Cinnamon's polyphenols bind to PPAR gamma and improve the cell's ability to store glucose safely inside fat cells instead of letting it linger in the bloodstream. Unlike unhealthy fats that increase inflammation, cinnamon improves the quality of fat cells, making them less resistant to insulin and more efficient at sugar uptake. This sensitivity-enhancing effect can improve A1C levels when used consistently. But perhaps one of the most fascinating actions of cinnamon occurs in the microbiome, the trillions of bacteria in your gut. Cinnamon serves as a natural antimicrobial that suppresses harmful bacteria while supporting beneficial strains that improve digestion, enhance nutrient absorption, strengthen immunity, and improve glucose metabolism. A healthier microbiome produces more short-chain fatty acids, which help regulate sugar, reduce appetite, and support fat burning. Many diabetics notice improved digestion, reduced bloating, and smoother bowel movements when they add cinnamon to their daily routine. Cinnamon's influence reaches even further, deep into the nervous system. High blood sugar destroys nerve linings, slows electrical signals, and leads to neuropathy, burning sensations, tingling, and numbness. Cinnamon's antioxidants enter nerve tissues and reduce oxidative damage around neurons. Its cinnamaldehyde improves circulation in microcapillaries, helping bring oxygen and nutrients to nerves that were previously starved. Over time, this can support nerve repair and reduce discomfort. Cinnamon also reduces advanced glycation end products, AGEs, harmful compounds that stiffen tissues and accelerate nerve breakdown. Even the heart benefits. Cinnamon lowers LDL oxidation, reduces triglycerides, supports HDL cholesterol, and improves endothelial function, helping blood vessels stay elastic and responsive. Because cinnamon also thins blood slightly in a natural, gentle way, it promotes smoother circulation, something diabetics often struggle with. Now here's where cinnamon becomes especially powerful for diabetics. It stabilizes appetite, mood, and cravings. Cinnamon reduces the glycemic fluctuations that trigger hunger, fatigue, irritability, and carb cravings. It helps keep glucose levels stable, which means fewer energy crashes, more emotional stability, and greater control over food choices. This stabilization effect supports healthy weight loss, especially in people with insulin resistance or visceral fat. But let's address a common myth here. Many people believe cinnamon works only as a flavoring spice, not as real metabolic support. This is completely false. Cinnamon is one of the most studied spices in metabolic research, and its blood sugar benefits are well documented. People assume that because cinnamon tastes sweet, it might raise sugar. But cinnamon doesn't contain sugar at all. It stabilizes it. It doesn't spike glucose. It slows its release. It doesn't increase fat. It reduces the pathways that store fat. This myth has held back many diabetics who could benefit from its powerful effects. Another fascinating part of cinnamon's story comes from its 8-minute metabolic trigger, similar to ginger, but with a gentler, stabilizing onset. Imagine sprinkling cinnamon into warm water or onto your breakfast. Within minutes, the warm liquid dissolves cinnamon's polyphenols, transporting them quickly through your bloodstream. By minute 3, insulin receptors begin responding more actively. By minute 6, alpha-glucosidase activity starts slowing down. By minute 8, GLUT4 transporters are moving to the surface of your muscle cells. The effect isn't dramatic or overwhelming. It's steady, calming, almost soothing to the metabolism. People often describe feeling warm but grounded, balanced, or satisfied without cravings. This is cinnamon's deep hormonal intelligence at work. Imagine your morning. You sit at the table, maybe feeling a bit hungry, or noticing you're fasting. Sugar is higher than you hoped. You prepare a small cup of warm water, sprinkle in 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, stir gently, and take a slow sip. The flavor is comforting, earthy, and warm. As you drink it, cinnamaldehyde begins interacting with your body's receptors. Polyphenols enter your bloodstream, and your entire metabolic system shifts into a more balanced state. Your digestion slows, your hunger decreases, your insulin receptors sharpen, your liver calms, and you start the day with a sugar response far smoother than usual. This ritual is incredibly affordable. In the US, cinnamon costs roughly 5 to 10 cents per serving, depending on the brand and type. Yet the metabolic payoff is enormous. When used consistently for 8 to 12 weeks, cinnamon can reduce fasting glucose by 15 to 25%, flatten post-meal spikes by 30 to 50%, lower A1C levels, reduce triglycerides by 20 to 30%, improve insulin sensitivity by 20 to 25%, support nerve healing, reduce inflammation by up to 60%, and improve glucose clearance efficiency significantly, especially when paired with ginger. What makes cinnamon extraordinary is not just how it works alone, but how powerfully it works when combined with ginger. One activates and ignites, the other stabilizes and regulates. One speeds sugar disposal, the other slows sugar release. Together, they form a metabolic partnership that supports diabetic health on every level: cellular, digestive, hormonal, neurological, and cardiovascular. Living with diabetes can feel lonely, exhausting, and unpredictable, but it doesn't have to stay that way. Sometimes the smallest changes, like adding 2 simple spices to your morning, can remind you that your body is still capable of healing, responding, and growing stronger. You deserve days where your numbers feel calmer, where your nerves feel quieter, where your mind feels clearer, and where you finally feel in control again. If this video gave you even a little hope or clarity, let that be the beginning of a new chapter. And if it helped you today, support the channel with a like, share it with someone who needs encouragement, and subscribe so we can continue walking this journey together, one small, powerful step at a time.